There is a secret club that most of us are members of, whether we admit it or not. It's the club of the perpetually delayed, the always rushing, the ones who consistently arrive just as the lights dim or the meeting wraps up. And if you're anything like my friend, Maya, you probably think it's just a time management issue, a failure of the alarm clock, or perhaps just bad luck with traffic. But what if I told you that being chronically late is almost never about the minutes on the clock? It's about something much deeper, something wired right into the way your brain works. It's a quiet language of the mind, and once you understand it, you stop seeing these people as rude, and start seeing them as someone trying to juggle a dozen invisible burdens. For years, Maya lived by the philosophy of the optimistic estimation. A 40-minute drive? She'd give herself 30. A 10-minute outfit change? Try 3. It wasn't disrespect, it was an ingrained, almost beautiful belief that she could somehow squeeze more time out of reality than anyone else. But this relentless optimism came at a price. She was constantly running on adrenaline, ruining first impressions, and, worst of all, silently eroding the trust of the people she loved most. It was this pattern of damage that finally led her to ask the question we're exploring today: why do some of us fight so hard against the clock, and what is the real psychology of people who are always late? It turns out that for many, tardiness is less about laziness and more about deeply held anxieties, from a fear of wasting time, which actually causes us to overschedule, to a subconscious need to assert control over a schedule dictated by others. These behaviors are complex, rooted in everything from how we perceive the future to what we feel we owe ourselves in the present moment. Think about it: when you see a person running late, you see a problem. When they look in the mirror, they see 1,000 tiny decisions that all went slightly wrong, leading to a massive feeling of overwhelming failure. Our story isn't just about the science, it's about Maya's journey to uncover her own hidden psychological drivers. She hit rock bottom when she missed the one appointment that truly mattered, realizing she couldn't fix the habit until she fixed the mindset. Now, as we dive deeper, we're going to look at the 3 biggest, most surprising psychological reasons that keep people trapped in this cycle of rushing and delaying. But before we get to the cure, we have to look at the core conflict, the moment Maya finally faced the possibility that her constant tardiness wasn't an accident, but a subtle form of self-sabotage, and the startling discovery she made about her own identity when she looked at the clock and realized the meeting had started 10 minutes ago, and she was still tying her shoes. Maya's turning point happened 4 months ago, not with a missed flight or a forgotten deadline, but over something completely ordinary: a small, carefully planned brunch with her closest friend, Chloe. Chloe had been patient for years, absorbing Maya's late arrivals with a sigh and a rolled eye. But this time was different. Maya arrived 25 minutes late, bursting in with a flurry of apologies about a sudden need to reorganize her pantry, a task that, in hindsight, could have waited until Tuesday. As Maya slid into the booth, flustered and out of breath, she noticed Chloe wasn't angry, but deeply, quietly hurt. It wasn't about the lost time, it was about the perceived disrespect. And in that moment, Maya felt the weight of her habit less as a personal failing and more as a destructive force in her relationships. She finally saw that her chronic lateness wasn't just her problem, but a shared burden she forced onto everyone else. The problem, as Maya started to explore, was what psychologists call time blindness, but she felt it was far more complex than just misjudging duration. It was a character armor, designed to protect her from the deeper pain of rejection sensitivity dysphoria. By making her schedule messy, she thought she was protecting herself from the judgment of her essence. David, the mirror image, was equally protected by his hyperpunctuality, making sure he was visible and correct before anyone could question his value. The months that followed weren't about magically becoming an early riser. The initial changes were small, rooted in the newfound self-awareness. Maya learned to embrace safe margins, not just for traffic, but for her anxiety. She started viewing the 15-minute window before an appointment not as wasted time, but as a space for processing and grounding, giving her brain time to switch off the paralyzing task initiation difficulty. When Chloe invited her out again, Maya planned to be 10 minutes early and, for the first time, actually enjoyed sitting quietly, watching the world go by without the frantic adrenaline of the late dash. When Chloe arrived, Maya was calm, present, and apologetically not frantic, a small victory that repaired years of perceived disrespect. The key takeaway from Maya's journey is this: if you find yourself constantly battling the clock, stop fighting the minutes and start examining the emotions. Are you suffering from optimistic bias, believing you are above the laws of physics? Are you using lateness as a subconscious act of rebellion against structure? Or are you, like Maya, using the deadline as a psychological shield against the fear of failure and judgment? Maya didn't become a perfect clock watcher overnight, and sometimes she still ran 5 minutes behind. But now, when she did, she could name the feeling, there's my RSD trying to sabotage me again. And that distinction, the ability to separate the person from the behavior, made all the difference. She had traded her false badge of being indispensably busy for the quiet, confident knowledge of her true self-perception. The freedom.